Good morning, YouTube. Man, it's been a week, huh? To say the least. So, it's currently Friday at 5:20 in the morning. We're going to attempt to go to the gym and train today. So, I'm not sure if you've been able to tell, but I haven't uploaded a video since Tuesday. I trained Tuesday morning, and after that, it's been all downhill ever since. So, Tuesday I ended up being pretty sick by the end of the work day. Then it just continued to get worse. So Wednesday, I didn't train. Rested all day, didn't work. Yesterday, I attempted to go to work. And I was only there for an hour or two. And I had to bring my daughter to the doctor's because she's also got some virus. And so we spent the whole day at the doctor's hospital. And I mean, nothing crazy was happening, so grateful for that. But still having a hard time breathing, coughing, but my body physically, feels good, So that's why I was gonna train yesterday, and now I'm gonna train today. So, I mean, I think I know when my body needs a rest. And if it wasn't for you get that feeling where you can't take a deep breath and it's just kind of restricted. That's how it feels. So, but besides that, I feel fine, So I'm going to train today. We're going to attempt to train back again since we didn't do it yesterday. And now, so I did the raw intensity training app for 4 weeks. It was great. But now I would have to pay another subscription to continue. So now I'm on the cusp of another, what am I going to do training thing. So we're going to figure that out. But for now, I know what I'm doing today. It's going to be mainly back exercises and abs at the end. I'm gonna try to, sweat a little, see how the body feels, and then we'll go from there. I mean, I've been getting some new subscribers, so that's cool to anybody. Shout out to anybody who's watching. I feel like they watch more of my videos for a longer period of time now than they did before. So that's good. I mean, I hope somebody's getting something out of it, But what I wanted to talk about was my meal prep situation. So right now I'm eating 5 meals per day. And I just kind of wanted to go over my history of food, because I remember in the beginning, for a lot of people it's very difficult to start. Where do you start when it comes to meal prep, because it seems so overwhelming when you've never done it before, and to think of tracking your food, and it just seems almost impossible, But the more, I've always used MyFitnessPal. There's plenty of apps out there now, but because I've always had the same one, I just continue to use that one. So as long as you don't lose your login, which is pretty important, I'll just start by saying that make sure you write down your login and your password so you never have to start a new account, because I've already had to do that twice. So once you kind of you get on the app and you start to look at, like, okay, I'm gonna eat chicken today, right? And I need to have, say, 40 grams of protein in one meal. So you go to chicken breast, and when you select it, you're gonna select like the increments of measurement, which could be like an ounce. Like, not everybody weighs everything in grams. Some people do ounces, some people do, whatever the other options would be. But so when you select your measurement, right, and you go to, it will probably end up being like 160 grams of chicken breast would be like roughly 40 grams of protein. So once you lock that in, now it stays in there for good. So like when you have some free time and you kind of know which foods you eat, you can just stop putting them in there at like random amounts, like chicken breast, chicken thighs, jasmine rice, sweet potatoes, like oatmeal, egg whites. So you just, once you have all the different foods in MyFitnessPal, then like every day when you go to eat whatever you're eating, it's already in there. So like, I know it seems overwhelming at first, but I promise you that like as you do it, it will get easier, and like it takes a little bit of getting used to, and then like when you switch foods and you have to try to find like which ones are which, it can get, like I remember during like my contest prep, like if I had to like find something different, it was like, or if I got like a new meal plan, I would get it in the morning and then I'm trying to prep my food for that day. So it can be like a little bit overwhelming at times, but like if you're just starting out, tracking any of your meals is how you start. You don't have to track all 5 or however many meals you're eating. You just start with like tracking something. Like if you're eating say 3 meals a day and you're able to track 1, that's a start. And then maybe a couple weeks later, you're able to like figure out what you normally would eat, and now you can track 2 meals. And then you can figure out, some people go by calories, some people go by macros. I feel like most bodybuilders are gonna use the macros rather than calories because, if you're focused on, say you have to hit 200 grams of protein, like if you only focusing on calories, you can get to 2,000 calories and be well under your protein intake for the day. So I think it's best if you focus on the macros, which would be protein, carbs, and fats, and figure out how much protein you need, like a gram to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. That's my opinion. Depending on where you're at, like you can figure out what works for you. And then you want to factor in how much carbohydrates you're going to eat, and then you factor in how much fats you're going to eat for the day, and then you try to keep it within your calorie range. So it's not like you have to completely forget about how much calories you're eating, but it's more important to focus on each macronutrient like individually. And look, everybody starts in the same place where, if you've never tracked food in your life, it's going to be like, it's going to seem like you can't do it. But I promise you that just like if you're overweight, you can be in shape. It's just going to take baby steps over a long period of time for you to get in shape. And tracking food like properly and consistently is the same thing, where it's going to be baby steps, and then you will eventually have it all figured out. Like when it comes to me and tracking food now, it's like, it's so easy, and that's why I'm not in contest prep. I'm not in any sort of program right now, and I still track all my food. You know what I mean? Like 90% of my food is tracked because it's just easier for me to make sure that I'm eating enough protein and I'm eating enough, food in general. Like, because I don't have like a cap of how much food I can eat. I just need to make sure that I eat enough food, So right now I've been cutting now for like the second week. So I'm down like 4 or 5 pounds right now, which I'm not really like concerned about hitting a certain like 10 or 15 pounds in the next 4 or 5 weeks. But I can see the scale slowly dropping and my skin is starting to get a little bit tighter, which is kind of what the goal is before I start ramping up food again come the new year. So, I mean, I think it's important for people to, if you really are setting goals for yourself, whether it's to compete, whether it's just to like gain muscle or it's to lose fat or whatever it is in general, like whatever the goal is, tracking your food is going to be on every coach's highest priority list. Like it's going to be hard to coach somebody if you don't have something to look at for what they're eating every single day. Because you can't just be going up and down in your food intake and then expecting to see the results that you're looking for. Like if you're planning on building muscle, then you need to make sure you're eating maintenance to surplus calories. Because if you're not going to be gaining muscle. And if you're trying to lose weight or lose body fat, then you're going to have to be in some sort of calorie deficit. And if you don't know how much food you're eating, then you won't know if you're staying in a calorie deficit. And if you're not staying in the deficit, you will eventually stop losing weight. So it all comes down to the food. And the best thing to do is just start tracking. Even if you're not eating the foods that you think you're supposed to be eating, start tracking that. Fucking whatever, if you're eating Reese's cups, if you're eating pizza, all that shit is in MyFitnessPal. Just put it all in there. Like there's times when I've had like severe, eating days where I'm eating like whatever, and I put all that shit in there, and you realize I'm eating like 1,000 grams of carbs and like 400 grams of fat. Like when you really look at it, it'll keep you accountable for what you're doing. Because the more you look at the food you're eating, if you're not eating what you're supposed to be eating, you're probably going to change it if you continue to look at what you're actually tracking and eating. So it's important, and it's a good way to figure out how to get to whatever goals you're trying to achieve. So I don't know. I figured I would just kind of go on a little bit of meal prep talk, because when it comes down to it, whether you're competing or you're not, like food is the key to all the goals that you're looking for. And if you think that training is more important, it's not. Food is what's going to get you to where you want to go. Everybody knows you have to train hard. If you don't train hard, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So training hard is almost like everybody knows you're automatically doing that. So the food is really the most important part. So, if you need tips on how to do it, you can always message me or put it in the comments or whatever people do. You can go on my Instagram and hit me up there. Like, I'm more than willing to help people because I know the difficulties that you're going to go through when you start to do it. So, hit me up. We're going to go in there, train some back, and get it done. So stay tuned. Peace.
And making me stay? Why do you hurt me so bad? It would help me to know, do I stand in your way? Or am I the best thing you've had? Believe me, I can't tell you why, but I'm trapped by your love, and I'm chained to your side. We are young, heartache to heartache we stand. No promises, no revenge. Love is a battlefield. We are strong. No one can tell us where. Searching our hearts for some love. Both of us knowing love is a battlefield. When I'm losing control, will you turn me away or touch me deep inside? And when all this gets old, will it still feel the same? There's no way this will die.